Yo, it's your boy H2O, and welcome back to another episode of the New Balance Podcast. I have missed you guys so much, and it's so good to be back with you on today, fam. As I always say, we have a special one in the building. But before I get to that, I want to thank everyone for reaching out. I want to thank everyone for the prayers. Thank everyone for your continued support. That's right, your boy he took a little sabbatical on you. And as we talk, I have a couple of new exciting things that are coming at the end of the year. As promised, I promise to keep bringing you this heat. And we have some things that's been simmering on the back eye. It's time to bring it to the front eye. And we're ready to serve you. And so let everybody know class is back in session. We ain't going nowhere. We don't die, we multiply. And so I'm just so appreciative of you. This podcast is nothing without the viewership. And I just want to give you love and give you your flowers, man. You guys, you really know how to make a guy feel good and how to encourage me. So I'm motivated to have this platform. I'm motivated to seek the face of God to give you content that's moving your life forward. Now, enough said. Listen, I have a guest in the building. Man, I don't know if you can see her cape floating behind her back, but I'm not going to even say superwoman. We're going to have to come up with a new superhero name for you. But New Balance Podcast, show some love for my sister, Miss LaShana Brown. What's up, LB?
What's up? Thank you so much for
Yes.
allowing me to be on the New Balance podcast. Excited to be here today.
Yes, this has been a long time coming. I'm so glad to have you on. We've been talking behind the scenes about how we're going to do this, and I want to put this out there. This is the first of many podcasts with my sister. So, LB, what's been going on? Catch me up. What's good with you?
Hey, just grinding. Just
Ah,
grinding.
I can't wait to get
Yes,
into this. Embrace the grind. Embrace the
yes.
Yeah. So listen, I'm rocking the gear this morning. And before we leave, you don't have to be in your feelings. We're gonna drop all the links where you can get the grind gear. All
Yes,
right.
we
So,
can.
just pump your brakes. I know you have a lot going on, sis. I kind of want to do a little backdrop, but to be honest, we really hadn't been knowing each other very long. Um, but it goes back to the thing I've been talking about episode after episode. I just believe we're in a season where the principles and processes of how we build relationships, I think we're in a time where things are going to be um, mutated. And what I mean by that, you're not going to have 10 to 20 years to walk with someone, get to know someone, and just bake out a relationship like that. The things that are happening now, the best illustration I can use is the David Jonathan effect. They had no relation. They were from two different worlds, but because of purpose and because of destiny, God placed one in one man's heart and he placed the other man in the other man's heart. And through that series of relationships, not only was David's life impacted, and we know how his life was impacted for the better, it also impacted Jonathan's life. And so I kind of coined that with you and I. We met back in the month of June, right? I want to say the
Yes,
expo was in June, right?
yes,
It was an incredible time, man. A lot of great friendship came out of that expo. So shout out to Sharice Williams. Appreciate her for putting that together. It was very, very fruitful for me individually, and then it's been fruitful for my brand. So out of that, I met LB. We talked, and we just connected right off the bat. And so we've been talking about purpose, right? She has an incredible purpose. She has an incredible story. And I'm looking for people in the earth with a like passion, with a like focus, who want to do some things to make the world better. That's it in essence, right? We all running our race. We all have our lanes. But I believe when we can cross pollinate, when we can come together, we can make a greater impact in the areas that are important to all of us. So she's a sweetheart. Her heart is pure as gold. I can definitely discern that about her. And
Oh, thanks, bro.
yeah, she's good people. I can tell that about her. My grandmother and grandfather taught me that, and I just appreciated her.
Wisdom.
Do what now?
I said that's wisdom.
Yeah, I just appreciate, like, you can share. It's one thing to talk about, hey man, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I want to do X, Y, and Z. And people like, man, I can appreciate that. That's great. Go forth, yada yada. But it's another when people want to see you do good and then help you do good. And I can tell you the sister that's on with me this morning, she wants to help me and what God has given me do good. So, Shana, talk to the people, bring us up to speed with life, where you are. Like I said, I know you're a busy individual. What's going on with you?
Well, Shana Speaks is going full throttle this last quarter. We have a book coming, Embracing the Journey.
Yes,
So
sir.
had a couple hiccups over the last couple months with that, but just glad that that's moving forward. I also look forward to starting my own podcast the latter part of the quarter. So definitely New Balance and the whole crew and the whole team will, have to join that.
For sure.
Um, and just inspiring and mentoring people to be their best selves. So
Yeah,
just working on that.
that's good. I mentioned earlier where we met. We met at the book expo, and we all had roles there. And one of your roles, like mine, you had the opportunity to speak. And it wasn't a long speech, but it was very, very impactful. And obviously, you talk on the surface of it, but I would like to delve kind of into some of it today. And I asked you a question like, why Shana Speaks, right? And when I listen to like your name, the meaning of it, what it holds, I couldn't help but think about what you shared at the expo. And I kind of want you to talk about the story about your loved one that passed away. Because when you begin to talk about that and how that thing unfolded, all what you had to do, all what you had to continue to do, I was like, oh, that's a little different, right? And I thought that when you begin to talk about it, I'm big on watching people when other people talk. So when you was telling your story, I'm looking like a police officer. I'm casing the room and I'm seeing the impact that it's having on the people. So if you could share with the New Balance audience, like talk a little bit about that situation, about that season in your life.
Well, you said why Shauna Speaks. So
Right.
just owning the voice and owning what we have to say
Yeah.
and getting over what somebody else is going to say by what you say. Growing up in an African American household is don't talk my business, don't say this, don't say that, and so you're unable to have those questions.
Yeah.
You're unable to understand the process. And so, more so, just with my story, I realized that during swift transitions of where you see one person one day and then the next day they're gone,
Right.
we don't talk in our culture
Mhm.
about how to deal with that.
Right.
Even if we do know, let's say someone was diagnosed with a terminal illness and they were given, X amount of days to live, we don't discuss how do you process that?
Mhm.
How do you deal with it? How do you
Yeah.
grieve?
Yeah.
We think that, okay, just having the funeral service and, our culture goes grandiose. So for that,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
always a
Yes.
big affair.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Usually people fall out, you miss the celebration of life. So with, this particular situation in my life, it hit because of the age
Mhm.
of this person, because of the closeness, and literally because I had just saw them, spoke to them. Um, and then it happened in an environment that I still had to go back to. So that's something else we
Yeah.
don't discuss. If a loved one passes away at the house, well, you still got to be at the house. So this particular, incident happened where we worked. So having to go back there and deal with that, and again, not have this was my person to talk to about everything. So then not having that, um it makes you grow up real fast. But then it
Yeah.
also made me remember and reflect on conversations that we had, like we're gonna stop working so hard, we're gonna, just enjoy life more, and we're gonna do
Yes.
this and we're gonna do that. And just to know that that person did not have the allotted time to fulfill those goals and those aspirations, and those dreams, also kind of catapulted me into the next to say, you don't know. Like, we talk about it, no man knows the day or the hour, but
Right.
at the same time, you know what I'm saying, you don't know. And so to have a
Right.
situation where you like literally do not know, um really just was like, oh my God, what do you do? Literally.
Right. Wow.
So yeah.
Well, what's powerful about it to me is I've been through tragic situations like that. And I'm telling you, my life was shook, my peace was shook, my joy was shook. And it was a transition in order for me to get back to the place that I needed to be. And so when I talk about, um, you're talking about embracing the grind, Shana Speaks. To someone that's listening, Shana, what would your advice be? What would you say to them? Because we're living in turbulent times now. I mean, on the daily basis, all during the day, people are getting reports, having to deal with things that really come to shut you down and to just make you stop, right? But obviously, your situation, you could not stop. You couldn't afford to stop. And I don't mean that in a financial terms. I mean that from a life term. And so I believe when I heard you speak, I could hear out of that, even though someone that you love and care about died, I also heard the birth of something else birthing during that time. So what would you say to people um, in that particular emergency room of life? Like, how do you balance the two? Because I do believe that when tragic things like that happen, I do believe there is a silver lining in it, in terms of there is something there for us to press forward into. But many times, because of the hurt, the pain of the thing, we never can press into the other side of what's there. And if you know anything about our God, trust me, it's always a dual. It's always something dual in it for us that's gonna help push our lives forward, even though it hurts. What would you say to somebody that's like this pandemic? Just, oh man, all of the different things that's going on. What would you say to somebody that's watching? Like, I hear you, I love it, embracing the grind. That's easier said than done. What would you say to them?
I would say handle everything in moments.
In moments. Ooh, I like
That's
that.
that's how that's how I made it through, Um, some people say, oh, if I could just make it to the end of the day. Mine's
Right.
is I need to make it to the next moment. And a lot of
Gotcha.
times, I know we're big on this whole mental health, mental health, mental health, and that is essential. But we
Yeah.
also want to be mindful of, I feel like, labeling um, the whole totality of a situation, and it could be a moment. So with
Right.
me going through the grieving process, there will be moments. I will be happy, I will be good, and then, let's say at 12:07, there's a moment where I feel sad and I'm missing this person. I want to cry. And now I have questions.
Yeah.
Uh, and I need this understanding. But then by 12, 13, I'm back.
Yes.
So in that moment, one could classify me as, oh, she's depressed, or oh, she's stressed, or oh, she's this, or oh, she's that. But at 12, 13, I'm back grinding. And so I think
I
it's
love
good
it.
to
Yeah.
just acknowledge the moment that you're in
Mhm.
and don't try to hide or run from the moment. There were times where I had to excuse myself, whether it be around other people or even at work. Um, if the moment comes, I need to excuse myself and I need to deal with it. And I feel like when you do that, um, your healing and your growth process is going to be authentic and it's going to be real. I always say, I feel like God, He can fix anything,
Right.
but if you can't be real with God, who you going to be real with?
Sure.
So He wants to know, even though He knows, but the Bible says He wants us to tell Him so that He can prove His word to us.
Right. Right.
So
I love it.
embracing those moments,
I love it.
going through the process.
Right. No, that's perfect. That's right in line what I talk about. I just use a different terms. On the locker room talk, we talk about life being not in seasons, because life does happen in seasons, but more importantly, life happens in plays.
Love it.
It
Yes.
happens in plays.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the ultimate goal is to advance. You have to advance. And if I use a lot of sports analogies. So obviously, football season is getting ready to jump off. There's a lot of excitement in the air, but they have 4 downs to advance, right? And I treat my life the same way. Okay, Harry, it's broken up into this. So how am I going to advance? I will be the first to tell you there have been many times those first 3 plays have been horrible. But because I understand now that life is in play, I will bust your back on 4th and 20. I'm going to get a first down. Like, I'm just at a
I
place
don't
in
know the
life.
whole football lingo, but
But look,
I'm a basketball fanatic, so
okay,
that's how
basketball. Well, look, basketball
you in
fanatic.
the fourth quarter, you could be down, but them last 60 seconds,
Come on, it's
make the
everything,
difference
right?
between winning the game and losing.
That's
So
right. Well, in
yeah,
basketball, it's a 24-second shot clock, right? And so you have 24 seconds to advance the ball to try to score.
that's it.
Now, there are some guys in the league can shoot that thing, and you have to be on them. You can't leave them open. But because it's a team sport, it's not always easy to get the shot. And I'm telling you, people that are listening to this, you represent a team. You're on a team that's dependent on you, right? They dependent on you to get the buckets. Sometimes your shot not falling, but thank God that on your team, you have what's called somebody that can get those boards. And
Yeah,
that's how it's no different than plays. Every rebound you get, it gives you another play. So I don't want people to feel bad about missing shots. Feel bad about missing shots and not getting the rebound to get other opportunities, right? Because that tragic thing happened. Okay, we all know that it's just a part of life. People are going to die, right? And I know sometimes it's just tough to talk about it, it's tough to think about it, but listen, it is a natural part of life. People that you love and care about, they are not one day, they're not going to be here anymore. So if that's a natural part of life, then I have to have some things in place to be able to deal with this natural part of life. As hurtful as it be, how much it just tears you apart, I just have to embrace it if I'm going to play this game, right?
yeah,
It's just part of it. It's part of it. And I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but sometimes I feel like you've heard the term "stop crying over spilt milk." Now, somebody losing their life or them passing away, it's not spilt milk in terms of that. It's very important. But the spilled milk part is when we stay in a place that we was never designed to stay in. And I'm telling you, people are dealing with so much grief, so much hurt, so much disappointment that they cannot move forward. If you would have stayed there, first of all, we wouldn't even be on the podcast. First of all, I wouldn't be wearing it. All of these things came out of it. out of a hurtful situation. And
Those are facts.
so to my viewers, listen, I know, man, the profession I'm in, I get the chance to be around people. I see people every day, and I see how people are dealing with this, and people are struggling. But like my sister, you're gonna have to embrace the grind. Let me see, put it on the camera. You're gonna have to embrace it. And I know obviously this is a shirt, but it's way more than a shirt. You understand?
It's a mentality.
Yes, it's a mentality. You
Yes.
know, think about when Kobe died. Think about when Kobe passed away, right? It was, man, I remember we were in church. We had just got out of church. And I'm telling you, we were at the restaurant eating dinner, talking, having a great time. My son got up, he went to the restroom. He came back, and I was like, man, what's going on? I didn't know what's going on. He had his phone. I said, what is it, man? He said, Dad, Kobe was just killed in a helicopter crash. I said, are you sure? I said, you know, all these tabloids, man, you can't. He said, Dad, he said, TMZ reporting it. I said, what? So anyway, he was so emotional, we had to leave the restaurant. Shana, that boy, it was like I had passed away. That's how emotional. What's my point? He believes in this Mamba mentality. He believes in it. So he went through a transition with it. Now, to me, you know what I mean? I don't want to date myself. When I was in school, Lynn Byers passed away. So that's the best I can equate that situation to, because we knew he was going to come to the league and kill. It was like a physical, it was like a personal friend, family member died when he passed away. What is my point?
That's how I felt when Whitney Houston passed away.
You see
So
what I'm saying?
we
People,
all
we
have
all have our,
that, yeah, that
yes,
person or
yeah,
whatever that meant something to you, that
yeah.
helped you, that you looked up to, or
Mm.
you know,
But
we
I'm telling you,
have
people,
that
come
person,
on,
and you don't know when it's gonna hit. Like you
you
said,
don't know.
that was a moment.
Yes, it was.
Hey, that was a
There it
flash.
is, right?
He went to the restroom, he came back. Now you're like, wait.
What's
And
going
someone
on?
else would tell him, you ain't know him. You don't
Right.
know nothing about him. If you met him, he wouldn't this, why you crying over that? You cannot tell people how to feel
Yeah, you cannot.
about anything really, but especially about someone in their transition. You
Right,
can't tell people how long it takes them to grieve or how long it takes them for them to heal either.
right. Well, I think that viewers today that's watching this, um, I think we've already kind of touched on it, but I want you to put meat on the bone in terms of, go ahead and help them understand like how embracing it was birthed. Well, we kind of know the situation, the backdrop, but tell me how you gave it life, how you put legs on it, how you formed it. You know, God said he went to the ground, he formed Adam, and then he breathed into him the breath of life. When I think of whatever God has given you, it's the same thing, right? You form it, right? And then you have to breathe into it. So what does that look like? Tell your experience to help someone else know, okay, in this situation, this is how I can do X, Y, and Z.
So embrace Shana Speaks. The whole culmination of all of this started as a little girl.
As a
So
little girl, oh,
as
cool,
a little,
incredible,
as a
incredible.
little girl, I was always speaking. I was always doing stuff. Sometimes I was forced into it, like, oh, you're gonna do this or you're gonna do this. But the aha moment was I wrote a speech for the Martin Luther King competition when I was in eighth
Mm,
grade, and
mm,
mine got picked, and I got to speak in front of it was like over 3,000 or 4,000 people there, but then they had newscasters and everybody there, and that was when I knew, okay, this is a part of what you are. So
mm.
that was the first part. That's probably that Shana Speaks portion starting to birth.
Okay.
And then the embrace. As a young person, I realized that a lot of parents, not intentionally, I don't think that they intentionally mean to do it, but we go to church, we quote scripture, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of parents or guardians don't train up a child in the way they should go. It's that they part. They train up a child in the way that they want them to go. So a lot of times parents are focused on, oh, I want my child to have a career. I want them to be successful. I want them to do this. I want them to do this. And so if their child is, let's say, an artist, they've been drawing since they were 3, or, they were able to take blocks and build stuff at 3 and 4 years old.
Right.
To me, those are the things that you hone in on. So
Right.
now you know that your child is a visual learner. Your child is good with their hands. And that probably means that your child is probably going to want to be an architect or an artist or something like that. But as parents, you're saying, well, artists don't make that much money or whatever. You got to be 1 in a million to do this and this and this. So now you invoke something else on them. Well, I know you like to do that, but we'll just do that on the side. But you need to go and be a police officer, or you need to go and be a teacher, or you need to go and be a doctor. And they're like, but wait. So now you're dealing with all of this. Again, your hormones, puberty, transition to a new school, usually going to high school. You have all these people where you were in smaller classrooms, now you have big. And now the very thing that you love to do is being pushed down. And then it further gets pushed down because you're listening to your parents, listen to other people, and then you just like, man, whatever, I'm gonna just go to college and I'm gonna just do this, or I'm gonna just get a trade and I'm gonna do this. And then 30, 40 years later, what do most people end up doing? Quitting those jobs and doing what they love. Going back to school to do what you love. Or fighting throughout the day, going to work and doing something you hate, but then getting off work and doing something that you love. But now you have no balance.
Mm-hmm.
And so like with us as millennials, I feel like that's why a lot of us are not married and a lot of us don't have children and stuff like that, because we're trying to support the thing that God said, train up a child in the way they should go. We're trying to support that they, because nobody embraced it. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to go through the trenches of helping us get to where we are. And then nobody wants to listen.
Right.
It's almost like when you become an adult, you forget that you were once a teenager. You were once misunderstood. You were once not heard, So that's where Embrace came from. And God literally gave it to me in the middle of the night in 2008, minding my own business, rolled over, and it was literally Embrace the Voice. And that was the start of my first business. And then everything after that literally just comes like that. So
embrace the grind, embrace the call, embrace the voice, embrace the gift. Everything has been built. Right. And so now you have this mantra in life. And first of all, let me say this. When I talk to you, I can tell the fulfillment of it. Like when you're doing it, your thing, or you're in the place that you're supposed to be, I'm telling people that is the best place to be in the world. Now, not without problems, not without situations, but it is the most fulfilling. It's the most fulfilling thing in life. And so people say, okay, I hear you. Okay, how do I get there? I just told you, we just gave you the prescription for it. We just gave you the blueprint for it. Right? So you may say, well, I don't have kids and how does it relate to me? Okay. You have to sit down. You gave a powerful analogy. You may have a kid and you just described our son. And me and my wife, we made a choice that, okay, I'm not gonna try to make him have a life I have. I ain't gonna put him in every sport. I ain't gonna be running him all over the town trying to make him the next Emmitt Smith or the next Michael Jordan. I ain't doing that. Now, if he ends up playing those sports, oh, praise God. But I'm not doing that. I do want to put him in it. I think it'll be good for some skills that he needs in life. Absolutely. But I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch what's inside of him. And so a good friend of ours, gave my son, he had to be, he was young, gave him a big logo, Lego, like a big, it had the big grid and in it was full of logos. Me and my wife would sit back for hours and watch this boy's creativity. He would build stuff he saw. He would see it on TV. He go to that box. Yeah, because what happened was the new Transformers that just came out. We were buying him all these Transformers. He would imitate the Transformer and build it on the Lego blocks. So I said, look at that mind. So I said, we got to take that and we have to bend that while it's hot, right? Doesn't make sense for me to be putting him out there on the football field and have him running plays and doing that. No. That's one of his gifts right there. So you move forward. At the time, I was learning how to do multimedia. I'm like, okay, he needs to be with me. I just want him around it. He's been around it since he was in a diaper. And then as he began to grow, he started taking a liking to it, understanding it. Not me teaching him, just based off of visual seeing. He would pick it up. He could do it. He could imitate. I said, oh, there goes another one. So now he's in school doing the thing that he showed us when he was a kid, right? And obviously, there's been some guidance. There's some things we poured into him and encouraged him.
Absolutely.
And we definitely don't want to squash his dream, and we encourage him. But that's how it is. So if you're watching, just like we did that with our kid, you have to do that for yourself. Like you said, it was an aha moment when you were the 8th grade. You had the opportunity to speak. You nailed it, killed it. But some kids won't know that because they don't have the opportunity. So it's up to us to find ways to create those opportunities, right? And they're indicators. That's my thing. All of us have a dashboard of life. And in that dashboard, trust me, the right circumstances in life, that dashboard is going to begin to light up. And whatever lights up, it's an indicator for whatever the thing is that you're dealing with, whether it's not a good thing. Like when you go to the doctor, they take that blood, like, all right, you got high blood pressure, homie. All right, what are we gonna do about it? But also that thing will indicate, hey, homeboy, you're supposed to be speaking to the nation. God's put something in your mouth. It's an indicator. It's not deep. But what's happened is we live in a society is like, and me, you and I had this conversation. I don't have no issue with people saying, hey, I'm an influencer. I get it. But the definition of what they said influencer is swallowing our world up. And so we have a bunch of cheap duplicates when God said, I made you an original, right? And so you have to tap into your original. When I see what you do, I'm like, man, that's wonderful. And I cheer you on. But it doesn't make sense for me to try to embrace the grind and be, this doesn't fit me. I don't care how much I try to imitate it and I come up with my own sweet saying and I'm dropping quotes like and all that. It doesn't fit me. David told Saul, I can fight him, but I can't fight him wearing that stuff you wear. I got some attire. And so I'm telling people you have to know what your attire is. And so, man, the whole embrace. I love everything about it because I think that's what we are as a society, as a world. It's time for us to embrace some things. So,
absolutely. And if somebody needed like a 1, 2, 3 step, because we have different viewers and viewers on here, like 1, 2, 3 step, right? So one, write it down. Whatever it is, as crazy as it is, write it down. Put a date on it, right? Then number 2, research and investigate. There have been hours before I had created the t-shirts and did all this and I was excited, and then the Lord woke me up and was like, so what you gonna charge? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just charge this. Okay. I literally spent about 14 or 15 days researching other t-shirt and clothing lines. Looking at their prices, looking at what they put on the shirts, looking at the kind of shirts, doing my homework and then writing all that stuff down. And then the third thing is, if you want someone else to believe in it, you got to believe in it first. And you have to wear it. So I literally wear it. Like if you ever see me in the airport, I'm only going to be repping my stuff.
Right.
Just was traveling this past weekend. Oh, I love your shirt. Oh, I love your dress. Oh, I love this. I love your phone case. Embrace everything. Everything I have is mine. So I made stuff for me before I ever made anything to sell. Because when that moment comes of doubt, of fear, of worry, of insecurity, of what are you doing, girl, or what are you doing, man? When that moment comes, if that moment comes and my phone's in my hand, our phones are always there, I can look at my phone and say, this is why. Remind yourself. Whatever you need to do. I know a lot of people who don't like vision boards and all that stuff, or don't like clutter. It doesn't even have to be all that. It could be a little post-it. I tell my young boys, it may be something personal. You don't want nobody to know. Put it in your favorite pair of shoes.
Right.
Write it on a post-it. Write it on a postcard. Yeah. Whatever your dream is, whatever it is you're working towards, put in your favorite pair of shoes. Every time you open up that Jordan box, every time you open up that Yeezy box, every time you open up those, Air Ones, whatever it is, you're going to see that. If you need to tape it to the roof of your car, you put on the sunroof, you need to put it on the refrigerator or whatever. It doesn't have to be grandiose.
Put it in the bathroom.
Yes, the bathroom.
I'm telling you,
mine's is in my bathroom.
Yes,
that's my safe place.
Let's put it in your bathroom.
Yeah, whatever works for you, right? Yeah. But that helps you. So in those moments of doubt and despair, it's a reminder to know, you are called. And I want to applaud you and your wife for, honing in on that with your sons. Other people would have been like, oh no, he playing with Legos. That ain't manly enough. Or he still needs to be out on the football field, even when he's, and I believe in exposing kids to different stuff, because sometimes you don't know the whole totality of what that they is. But like you said, you never force them, because eventually they're going to figure it out. Like if he picked up a football and loved it, okay, then you would know that him interacting with the Legos and stuff was for a different type of trajectory, still same concept, because if he's moving around with his hands and he's throwing a football and he's strategic, then he's going to strategically know the plays and all that stuff. Or he could have went somewhere else and he could have decided he wanted to be a surgeon. Either way, he's using his hands. Now he's using his hands to build somebody back together. So it's not just a one thing, but you kind of have to let them explore.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now I will tell you, he was in sports now. That thing kicked in. I said, uh-oh, I don't know if I should have put him in, man. He fell in love with it, and he was going. But then I began to see the tapering off of it, because I was like, I'm not your coach, I'm your supporter, man. And if you say, hey, I want to start playing the piano, okay, it's time for you to start doing the piano. I never was going to try to live my life through I just wasn't going to do it. I think it's so important that we have these conversations. A lot of times we understand that it's tense in these homes. We understand that, it seems like it's always a constant of the budding, but if you could ever put your weapons down, come to the table, to the table where I call it the negotiation place, and begin to have real life conversations. And if you begin to delve into the lives of whether it's your child, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a business partner, family member, whoever it is, you can get down to the core of what's going on. And then you have to be willing to make whatever adjustments need to be made. Once you make the adjustment, embrace it. Like I had to make, there was an adjustment that happened 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, right? Part of it was out of my hands in terms of what I had to embrace, right? And it's no bad thing, but I had to embrace it. So I knew some things were going to change. So now I was like, okay, how am I going to move forward in life in these other areas, right? I sat down, I prayed, all the things I know to do. When I got the answer, I embraced it. Now, I'm telling you, it was an uphill climb. straight up. I had to, and listen, I'm still in the climb now. But when I look at where I am, and I look how far, I'm like, oh my Lord, I'm really high up here in this short period of time. But I'm only at this elevation because I embraced it. And
Right.
really, that's all I'm saying today. You're hearing these two different stories. Really, forget our stories. You put your story in our story's place, but use these principles to get the results that you need. You know, you also sometimes, and I want maybe this. I know this is going to have to be the last one because of your time. I know you got places to be, but I want you to speak to this. Anybody that knows me, man, I'm good at a lot of different things. Um, Really, if I put my hands on it, it's gonna prosper. It's gonna come out good, and that's just one of the gifts God gave me. But the dark side to that is you can be good or do all these different things, but you're not effective in any of them. And so creators have to guard against being so many different things. I really believe in focusing. Now, I'm not saying you can't do multiple things, you can't have your hands on different things. I'm not saying that, but I am saying you have to be careful in terms of, you know, January, February, March, I'm a motivational speaker. April, May, and June, okay, I'm a real estate agent. July, August, September, I got a food truck. You know, that right there, we have to stop that. When I say embrace the grind, that's not embracing the grind. That right there is being bouncing all over the place with no guidance, no direction. And what's going to happen is you'll go through a season of life and you'll look up 10 to 15 years has gone by and you have nothing to show for it, right? Because you're just bouncing all over the place. So I want you to kind of speak to that because I kind of feel that from you. I've seen the different things that you've done. You know, if you pour yourself into this, it's a success, it's great. If you pour yourself into that, it's a success, it's great. How do you hone in to be like, okay, this is the thing, or these are the things that I need to focus on. These are the things that I need to pour my attention and myself into. What would you say to that, or say that to our audience, you know, who's trying to pinpoint some things before this year ends?
I would say you got to be real with yourself. Okay. And really get to the root of your purpose. Okay. One of my favorite pastors, you know, she said something years and years ago, but she said, when you know your purpose, people can't manipulate you. Mm-hmm. And I took it a step further and said, when you know your purpose, people can't manipulate you and you can't talk you out of it either. Okay. And don't be afraid to speak up. So right. I'm an educator and I always tell people I don't do little kids. It's not offensive, not at all, but that's not my gift. Right. But I've had to step in for children's ministry, or, you know, I take my little cousins to the zoo and do stuff like that. And so when people see you interacting with my nieces and stuff, oh my God, you're great with little kids. Mm-mm. This is a moment.
Yes, it is.
I'm going back to your word. This is a play.
That's a moment. Absolutely.
I can't do the whole game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can't do the whole game. And so when people see that you are good at something, right, they want to force you into staying into that, you know. Right. I can decorate, I can create, I can scrapbook, but that's not my lane. So right. If I have a choice, I'd rather write the business plan and organize the events in terms of schedules, checking people in, you know, flight itinerary, all of that, right, as opposed to what color flowers we're gonna have in the lobby and what color the chair cover is gonna be. I don't care about that. So you have to know. But again, if I'm in a situation, like you said, where I have to boss up and execute, oh, it's gonna get done.
Right.
But then now people try to put that on you. Well, you did it. Yeah, I did it because I had to do it. I did it because
Right.
there was a need. So just be real with what you are. Like, I know the areas that I'm good in, and I
Mm-hmm.
know the areas that I'm called to. And before, I used to allow people, and even the pressures of myself, to make me do these things, and then at the end of the day, there's no fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then
Wow.
you're drained,
Wow.
and it's horrible to do something and
Right.
complain about it, or do something and, you know, you don't feel the gratification that you're supposed to feel. So
Mm.
you gotta, you just gotta be real. I'm so real. Sometimes my friends hate that I'm so
Okay.
real,
No.
but you got to.
Right.
That's
No,
my
you
advice.
dropping dimes. No, listen, you dropping dimes. Listen, that's gonna save someone's life. That's gonna get, I just see weights being lifted off of people just off of that nugget right there.
Yeah.
I can attest to it. I was that guy, I was that dude, right? And I'm gonna tell you what else is associated with that. I'll be honest with you. I come from my family. God, we have a grace to serve. And not only when you do that, and like you say, you're good at the different things, you want people get sucked into wanting that affirmation in those areas, right? And so, like you said, if you're not careful, abuse definitely can set in. And I think when you don't speak up and you don't own that truth, you set yourself up for failure, right?
Mhm.
And it's like an ingrown toenail. When it first jump off, you know it's there, but it's like, man, I can still function, I can still work. But when that joker put some time on it, the thing that you've been doing, that ingrown toenail about to shut everything down. You're gonna see how important that toe is to the rest of the foot and to the rest of the side of that body. And your life is like that. You're
Yeah.
going through life with these things in. You have to stop and get that stuff out. It's like, okay, cool. That was cool for then. This is now. I can no longer function that way. And I'm telling you, when you get rid of those weights, the things you've been praying about, you've been crying about, that's going to go away because now you have relieved the pressure. And it doesn't make sense to go through life under that type of pressure when you can do something about it. And so I
And
know
don't be
sometimes,
afraid to do it.
yeah,
People gonna
yeah.
talk.
Oh man,
They
listen,
gonna have something
you
to
can't change it.
say.
Yeah,
And
you can't
I had
change
to
it.
get over that, just
Um,
not wanting people, to have anything to say. Or when you say you're changing, or you're not doing stuff, it's
no,
gonna be somebody that's gonna
no,
swing back around and be like, but could you please? Like, your
no.
no has
Stay
to
here.
be your no, and your yes has to be your yes. And it is tough. It is so tough. Like you said, being a giver, being a server, um, it's hard to tell people no. You
Yeah,
know,
that's that ground
it,
screw. I'm
it's
telling you,
it's
that's.
so hard. Oh, did I go through?
I'm telling
And
you,
sometimes
it's
it
tough.
creeps back up.
Yeah,
I
it
say
creeps
yes to
up.
something, and I be like, why, girl? Why did you say yes to that? Dang,
Yeah,
oh well, you ain't supposed to be doing that.
you know.
So
But I've learned, and I'm the poster child. I'm telling you, you hear me say this. I'm telling, don't feel bad. Say no, mean it from the bottom of your heart, and keep it moving. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if it's. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about even spouses, your children, business partner, ministry, church, whatever. You have to listen. You have to look. I'm saying, look at when you go to the emergency room. You go in there, you see all of these different people with all of these different symptoms. But I promise you, if you would do a survey at the root of all of these symptoms, a lot of the problems stem from the same thing.
mhm.
Because some of the, well, I won't say all of them, but I would say a lot of the people in that emergency room, I guarantee you, hadn't been their first time in there that year.
No, well, it goes back to simple basics, and I don't mean to get churchy on y'all viewers,
It's
but
okay.
Jesus took 33 stripes. Okay, so I'm a science nerd. That's what I teach: chemistry and
Mm-hmm.
physics and anatomy and all of that. So if you look at it, um, every single illness, disease, sickness that we have comes from 33 original strands of something that stem from something else, that stem from something else, that stem from something else. So essentially, like you said, when you get to the root, we're dealing with the same thing.
Hey, ushers, get the baskets. Time to serve the people. We gotta take offering now. Give me some
And
coolers.
that's
Get
a
her
little
some
plug for
Kool-Aid.
COVID. COVID is
Yeah,
not new.
it's
Do
not.
your
Come
research.
on,
It's
come on,
not new.
come on.
It's
Give
not
the
new. It's
get
new
the
to
preacher
us.
some juice. You give us some grape juice. Let's take this offering. I know seriously. Like somebody's gonna have to pay you to misunderstand what we're saying. I promise you. Take these things, sit down, mull over them if you have to, think about it, but put it into action. I promise you, there is still time on the clock in 2021. What you want to accomplish, what you want to get done, or what you want to get started, there's still time to do it. I've done some things this year. Um, when I think about it, I look back over it. Um, I never would have thought that I would have been able to do the number of things how I've done, but I'm telling you, I've been able to do them because I just simply embrace the grind. No, and whatever your grind is, or whatever your call is, whatever your voice is, whatever your gift, I'm telling you to embrace it. I have a guest on today. It's not just a t-shirt, but you need a t-shirt. So before you leave, we're gonna tell you how to get one. But more than the t-shirt, you know, you find your thing and then you embrace it.
Yes.
And I always say why. I try to be a motivational guy. I try to. I believe in. I just believe in, man. You having and living your best life, and a lot of times it's not just things, but it's just really being in the best, like mental place, mental space with it, being the best spiritual place, and then just being happy with you. I can attest. I know what it's like not to be happy with me. You know what I mean? You're doing all these things and helping other people, and people saying great things about you, cool. But on the inside, I was a train wreck. I was like, man, why do I have to be a train wreck? I'm not gonna be this train wreck anymore. I'm gonna find out what makes Harry happy. I'm gonna find out the thing that brings me peace, that brings me joy, and the thing that I absolutely love in life. And that's what I boiled everything down to. Everything else, you talk about trimming the fat, I trim that fat. And I'm telling you, this place, this happy space that I'm in, oh, I'm guarding it. I'm not giving it up. And so I want to help you. I want to help others, right? And I just think when you go over a thing over and over and over, and you find yourself in that same place over and over and over and over and over and over, perhaps you might need to get some outside help to get you out of that place, right? And I had to learn that. I didn't necessarily want to embrace it. I didn't want to embrace it. But when I did, I'm telling you, God, it's like, man, he took me from the back of the line in those areas and took me to the front. And it's a great place to be. So I think it's important for us to show this, right? She shared a couple things with me, and she may not even know that she was sharing something that's critical for the things that I'm doing. But that's what happens when you get into these type of relationships. The scripture talk, we quote it, iron sharpeneth iron. But that's what iron sharpeneth iron looks like. And now watch this. The things that she shared, it didn't feel good to my flesh, right? But I know it's one of the things I need to do to add to my repertoire so I can go to the next level, right? Right. Yeah, yeah. Right. And so you're like, well, she can tell me now. She can, especially if you are a man, it's like, What? She, her woman? Tell me what? What? Nah, bro.
It's
I
all in
don't
love. It's all in love.
look. I
And
don't
it could
care.
be me
Look,
just talking.
I don't care if a blue dragon walked up and dropped a dime on me. I'm gonna receive it, right? It doesn't matter to me. Listen, I'm in a place, you should be a place in life where you want to win so bad
Yeah.
that you can take the limits off of what you said has to be in order for you to win.
Amen. I love that.
Like, do you want to win or don't you? Sis, I appreciate you. This has been
Thank you for
good.
having me.
Oh,
I'm
for
so
sure.
honored.
Yes, for sure. Sure. We about to kill some things, man. 2022 is going to be a fabulous year, and we're gonna help a lot of people. We have some things coming down the pike, and I'm excited about it. So, is there any closing remarks that you have?
No, follow me on all social media
Yes,
platforms.
please.
Shana
All of
Speaks.
it. Where can we get the gear?
Shana Speaks.
Where's
You
your
can
next
go to my
event?
IG, Shana Speaks,
Yes,
ShanaSpeaks.org, my
yes,
website, get a
yes.
shirt. If you go to my IG, link in the bio will take you to Embrace the Call
Yes.
IG and allow you to be able to order shirts. You can
Okay.
pre-order the book if
Okay.
you like. And then the itinerary and different things that's happening.
Got you.
We'll all be there. We usually do Mondays motivational messages, transparency Thursdays, and a couple other things throughout the week. So you can check it out on YouTube or, whichever platform is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
They're all there. Shana Speaks.
That's what's up.
SHANA.
There you go. Because I was butchering her name when we first met. She's like, no, Shana, Shana,
Yes. My parents
Shana.
spelled it Shana, but it's Shana.
It's Shana, Shana. I said, all right, Shana. Oh, I mean Shana, Shana.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Shout out to Shana though. I love her. You can follow her too. She's a gospel recording artist.
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
Beautiful voice.
oh for
Authentic
real.
ministry. So
Oh
if
my
you
God.
a lot of people.
My phone is full of my sis. Oh my God.
Yes.
We go in
That's
with it.
Shana. I'm
Yeah,
Shana.
yeah, straight up. Yeah, she's blessed my life so much. Well, we have another one. We thank you. And to the New Balance podcast family, we back in the saddle. I told you, I promised you I wasn't gonna wait till next week. See, I came on and gave you this special treat. And I'm excited about finishing the year strong with you guys. But as we always say here on the New Balance podcast, it's strength for today, sustenance for tomorrow. It's your boy, your potential conditioner, H2O. We'll see you when you see you. Peace.
Bye.